Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Melanie Ludy and I cover digital tools to make your teaching more effective. Today we're going to go into my best quarantine decisions. Before we get too far into it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below so you can always get updated with my latest videos every Sunday. Now, quarantine has been a strange time. We've been pretty much forced to be in our houses for, at this point, like 9 months. And we've learned a lot about ourselves, to be fair. I feel like a lot of people have really struggled with quarantine, and I feel like some people have really grown in quarantine. I feel like I did a little bit of both, but I'm really gonna just focus on kind of the positives today and the things that I did that really helped me grow as a teacher and as a person. Okay, so my first great decision of quarantine was signing up for summer school. So in March 13th or so, when we all got shut down, we had a weekend to really come up with a kind of plan for what we were gonna do in the spring to finish out the year. We weren't even sure how long we were gonna be home. First it was a weekend, then it was 2 weeks, and then Pennsylvania was lucky. They made the decision early in April that we would be virtual the rest of the school year. But by having summer school, it gave me a test run time to really kind of figure out what I was gonna do in the fall for a full virtual year. How else was I gonna be able to interact with my students and make sure they got the content they needed? How was I gonna create assignments? How was I gonna structure my lessons, my week? Having that trial time was amazing. I also used that summer school money to help buy my house, so extra good on the summer school. Number 2 was adding certifications. So I got Google certified over the summer. I also added Math 7 to 12 and Biology 7 to 12 to my certification list in PA, and that was huge. It gives me a lot more options. I learned a lot more about the Google programs, which I use every day in virtual, and it was just a great professional development time and some great things I did with my time in quarantine. And number 3 biggest thing I did over the summer was I added myself to my school's schedule committee. Looking back, I don't think I was actually asked for what we should do for the schedule, but I know I sent ideas to my principal and he kind of just ran with it from there. And we had several edits to that schedule. There were so many options. We went through so many different scenarios based on teaching schedules, what the students needed, and we have to coordinate with the specials teachers. The specials teachers work with K to 8, and we were just looking at the 6 to 8 schedule. So there was a lot involved with that, but I got to take a leadership role in that, and I got to kind of get a feel for what leadership does in my building and elsewhere to see if that was a career goal that I still want to include. So that was great too. Number 4 is setting up my office space. Wow, I cannot tell you how much of a difference that makes. Actually setting up my desk and using my desk. Getting that little caddy on the side with shelves for my printer, my curriculum materials, my pens and pencils, and organizing all of my Post-its. It made it such more of an official space, so it was a real workspace for me. So I could sit down, get work done, and then at the end of the day, I can just close the door and be done with schoolwork. It really helped create a life-work balance for me, and it made me feel more official when we were there. Also, I'm gonna add in its own number 5, a wireless mouse. Wow, it's worth its own point because it is that useful. The $30-some I paid for it is excellent. It really helps out my hand with all of the clicking that I'm doing all the time. Best investment I probably made during quarantine, hands down. And number 6, making a planner. So I was thinking about this over the summer and in the spring of like, what do I actually need to make lesson plans each week? What do I need to have handy as a resource so I am ready for the week, so on and so forth. And I created my own custom planner with those things. And you always hear about the Erin Condren planners or, the fancy dot journals. Honestly, I knew what I needed and I had a lot of those resources. So I just made a binder with the tabs, with the fancy page protectors to include what I needed. And it has been fantastic. I love having my block schedule. I have the 7th and 8th grade schedules in there. So if kids ask me what class do I have next, I can tell them. It's been amazing for lesson planning because I have all of my assessment anchors in there. I have my scope and sequence. I have my weekly to-do list. It has been amazing. All right, so let's get into Google Classroom stuff. Number 7 is a regular grading and assignment schedule. So every Monday we do an activity, they have a comprehension quiz due. Every Wednesday there's an activity and they turn in their participation rubric. And then Friday their quiz is due and the reflection is due. By having a regular assignment schedule and grading schedule, I stay on top of my grading. I've never been this good with my grading as I am now because I've regulated what assignments I have each week and when they're due. So I've started grading my participation rubrics in class. That has been such a great decision. I've saved myself so much time and kids are actually filling them out. Number 8 is those participation rubrics and reflections that I have my kids do. So those participations really make them reflect on that behavior and they know what they're supposed to be doing each day. That has been great. I also love my reflections because we're not in building. I feel like we don't have quite as many writing opportunities. And with these reflections, I can throw in a paragraph writing assignment every week. That paragraph is short, but at 7th and 8th grade, they really should be able to write a paragraph every week and just adding in that extra thing to make sure we're ready for those PSSAs, those state tests. That makes me feel really good. Number 9 is a new Google Classroom every quarter. In the spring, we had one Google Classroom per section and all 4 or 5 subjects posted in the same one. It got very congested very quickly. But because we knew we were going to be virtual in the fall, we all separated and made our own Google Classrooms based on subject. And I make a new one every quarter because at 9 weeks, which is the length of our quarters, it starts to get pretty full. There's a lot of things in there and I really think it helps keep the kids more organized and me more organized by having it in separate quarters. Bonus, by having it in separate quarters, when they check the view their work button in Google Classroom, it does give them that up-to-date grade for that quarter and not an average of quarter 1 and quarter 2. Great decision number 10 was making instructional videos. Even back in April and May, I started to make instructional videos for my kids. In the spring, I had 1 hour a week with each grade on like a video chat, and most of the work was done asynchronously or on their own. By having those videos, the kids who couldn't make that meeting were able to get the content. And I'm so glad I started those back in April because wow, were they garbage. Honestly, it gets better with practice. And so my early ones were not so great, but they were something for my kids in the spring. Now when I make videos, they are 10 times better than they were. And I'm grateful for starting so early. So then by the time the fall hit, I had a good system going and I was able to kind of keep it running. That ties into decision 11, making a YouTube channel. I've wanted to do this for years. In fact, I found an old hard drive from college and there's a video on there of me trying to teach chemistry when I wanted to start like a chemistry YouTube channel all the way back when I was 20. It's crazy to think that this has been such a long-term goal of mine and I'm so glad I finally did it. Great decision number 12 was flipping my classroom in general. Once I started to get those videos under my belt and really kind of understand what makes a good instructional video, what kind of editing should I do, how should I prepare for it to really make it successful, flipping my classroom was definitely the next critical step. And with us being in virtual and my school making sure every student has internet and a device, it really was just the right time and place to make the shift. And I have been playing with that idea for a couple years, so it wasn't totally, pulling it out of thin air, but because my school ensured those tech things were in place, it was really the right time to kind of flip the classroom. Number 13 is I feel like I've been reconnecting with old friends more during quarantine. So every Monday I have a call with my friend Allie. Hey Allie, if you're watching this. And we were really close our senior year of college. And then we kind of drifted for a few years. She got busy, I got busy. I had to go through this whole kind of quarter life crisis, which she and I joke about. And this quarantine time has really allowed us to reconnect and rediscover our friendship. And she and I always talk about how we know what day of the week it is because we know that we have a call together. And it just that regular routine really helped both of us kind of manage quarantine and make sure we stayed on track. I've also been reconnecting with some other friends from previous jobs, from previous parts of my life, and it's been amazing to keep up those friendships and really save my sanity in a sense by still being social, but distanced. And number 14, last but of course not least, moving. Moving has been by far the best decision of 2020. Every year I write a big list of annual goals and I make it a nice vision board and it just goes above my desk. Half of this year's goals were saving money and buying a house and moving. I really cut it close with this timeline considering I moved on December 10th, but I got it in there, and this has been a goal of mine for probably 4 or 5 years. I'm so blessed and thankful that I was able to make it happen this year. That'll do it for this best decisions of quarantine. What were some of your best decisions? What are some of the best things that happened to you this year? I really feel like it's important to stay positive and think of the good things. There's a lot of negative happening right now, but we gotta stay focused on the positive. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.